What's going on, everybody? Chase with IDEV Hockey here today with Rob from Warrior Hockey at Warrior HQ here in Detroit, Michigan with the exciting Rise stick line in front of us. Now, before we start talking more about the tech and spec that we find underneath the hood, who did you have in mind when you're building Rise, and what's the inspiration between the word mark?
Yeah, so Rise for us is really for that new hockey player at every level, whether it's a really young player or an adult that wants to get into the game or go play pond hockey or whatever it is. And that's really the inspiration behind the Rise naming. It's about growing in the games. You got to start somewhere, and this is really kind of the perfect product to kind of get you into it.
And so, especially for that new to hockey player or parent looking to buy that first stick, it can be overwhelming. There's so many models, there's so many families, there's tons of brands. I feel like it's so important for a brand like Warrior Hockey just to provide a great option for those parents or players. And so as we look at the Rise itself, what makes this so special for that new to hockey or casual player?
Yeah, so for us, it's a couple things. One, from a flex profile standpoint, it's a really easy to use stick. It's got a kick point that's down below the bottom hand on the stick, so it's still a pretty easy to load stick, but it has a lot of stability when you're shooting and catching passes and just trying to figuring things out. It's really a very versatile flex profile in that way. So that's a big piece of it. The other part of it is, even from a graphic standpoint, coming in with a really approachable graphic and not something that's too polarizing on one end or the other. Just a nice, comfortable product at every level.
And then in terms of the durability too, we know hockey is not cheap, especially compared to sticks of years past. Where does this maybe rank in terms of just the overall longevity and durability?
Yeah, I think what's really cool with this stick too is it's made to last. It is a little bit heavier if you compare it to a high-end stick. It's a heavier stick that way. It's really durable though. But the really cool thing with our sticks, even at this level of stick, the way we build the stick stays consistent as it is at the top price point. The materials change, but the process really stays consistent. We put a lot of time and attention to detail in how we build hockey sticks to create a lot of consistency in it. And so you still get an incredibly well-balanced product at this more entry-level price point. So it's still a stick that feels like a premium stick, just a little bit heavier.
And then one last fun question before we wrap this up. Let's say someone's revisiting this video. They picked up a Rise and now they've really learned the game. They're getting into some competitive hockey. Which family between your three families of sticks outside of Rise would you maybe guide that player into?
Yeah, I think if you're coming out of Rise, I think the stick that might feel the most similar to what you're used to in the Rise is probably the Alpha family of sticks. But to make it a little confusing, I suppose, as you start to feel it, if you find yourself being a little bit more of that offensive-minded player, you might gravitate towards the Covert. It's a really easy load stick. Or if you find that you really like kind of that big shot style of play, you might gravitate towards the Novium family of sticks. So you'll find it as you grow out of this stick that you'll find a family that's tailored for you. But we really have all the bases covered between Covert, Alpha, and Novium.
Perfect, Rob. Well, as always, thanks so much for having us out and walking us through the Rise stick.
Yeah, anytime.
And for you at home that want to check out the full line of Rise, including protective gear, make sure you head over to icewarehouse.com.